Hello again. It's been a while. It's been a long time since my last video. I've been very lazy, but people keep on subscribing and keep on asking me questions. And I've actually got an email from somebody in South Australia. And I thought rather than just typing back because I'm sick of typing, I thought what I'd do is just send him make a video and really post it for everyone because he's got some pretty good questions in here. And probably the first question he asks is, do you build themes from scratch or do you use premium theme templates and alter them for your clients? He says he does both, but he's found using premium theme templates better. And this is exactly what I do. I find I use a template company. Now, once again, for those people that don't know, I use a CMS called Joomla. And really, there's Joomla and WordPress are the two main ones that a lot of people use. And he's actually using WordPress, but this company is called UThemes, very popular, and they make top quality templates. I find lately their theming, so their actual pre-made designs are a little bit underwhelming, but their core structure of what they use, their framework is excellent. So I've been with UThemes for quite a few years now and gone through quite a few of their framework systems. But each new framework they make, they really take it from the last one a little bit and sort of build on it. So where they are right now from their page builder is using UIKit 3, which the one before it was UIKit 2, which is in their Warp 7. Anyway, so I'm rambling too much about the framework and everything. But the main thing is that I'm really used to their product. And I'm really used to how to update it, how to edit it, how to put things in places and things like that. Now with their latest one, and I go on in a couple of other videos about Page Builder and how good it is. So it's really a drag and drop system with the power of using CSS styling right down to the actual the area that you're working on. So rather than putting a CSS that all goes over the whole site, they actually include CSS into actual blocks of code. So it's a great system. Anyway, so I use this system. I did used to use Rocket Themes. So I went between Rocket Themes and UThemes. What I found there is that I would have to adjust my thinking a little bit. So if I found a template, and the reason why I went between two template companies was because I would like the design of Rocket Themes for that particular month, because they'd all bring out one every month. And then UThemes I would like the design for. But as I found myself getting better with creating the templates and what the client would want, I found that I could do everything from one type, which would be either Rocket Themes or either UTheme. I decided to go into UThemes. So that is the one that I use all the time now. Now, of course, since I use this one all the time, then I'm very, very quick with it and very familiar with it. In actual fact, I find it annoying when they start to change systems. So, for example, when they went from Warp 7 to their page builder at the moment. So, because there's a learning curve that I have to do and sometimes I don't want to do because I just want to get in, build a website, get it out for the client and get something that's good. So really, I can't give enough of a shout out to UThemes and how good they are with their products. They also make their frameworks for WordPress as well, so that might be something. But I've never experienced it in WordPress, so I can't say or I can't recommend how it works in WordPress. But I should imagine they use the same page builder framework within WordPress as well. Another reason why I use these premium theme templates rather than building from scratch is simply the time and the cost of it. You don't want to reinvent the wheel when it comes to this sort of this level of development, or front-end developer or web designer or whatever you want to call yourself. Remember, I do all my videos from the perspective of one-man computer giving websites to small business clients. That's what I do. I'm not a part of a major team. I sort of the jack of all trades here. And that's really what I'm pushing towards. So I want to get a quality product out to my clients. So the way to do that is by standing on the shoulders of great people and just doing the work. So keep that in mind. Okay, so the next question he's asked is, how do you host your clients' websites? I use Bluehost or Bluehost hosting. Do clients normally prefer to use yours or their own hosting from your experience? So I have two servers that I put all of my websites on. What I've done is I've purchased two VPS systems and they're unmanaged, which means I take care of everything, and I did this for a while and it was a pain in the ass, simply because I'm not a server management team. I don't know enough about servers when things go really bad. And then what I would have to do is I would find myself looking on the internet, looking for solutions like any other time. When something goes wrong, you Google it and see if you can find out, and look through forums and things like that. So that was a pain in the ass. So what I did then is I got hold of a server management team, and they're called Server Surgeons. I think they're in America somewhere. And they manage the two servers. So any problems I have, then it's just a ticketing system, and they're very quick. So they take care of any problems. If for some reason one of the sites gets hacked and then it starts to be used as spamming out thousands and thousands of spam emails, therefore the server gets blacklisted, that's a big pain in the ass, because then you've got to sort of manage everything from finding out where the security issue was, and then going through and taking the blacklists of all other blacklisting sites and everything like that. So and then I've done that by myself, and that was extremely painful and took a long time to sort of fix. But once I got the Server Surgeons or the server management, then it was just fantastic. I gave the problem to them and they fixed it all. So now really I'm just a controller of my websites on my servers. I go in and do the basic stuff that I need to do, clean up extra files or things like that, keep the servers nice and low, and try and keep everything running smooth to a basic level. And then for the big stuff, I hand over to the Server Surgeons. As far as letting the clients manage their own hosting and everything like that. And so in other words, you build a website, you hand it over to the clients and say, there's your hosting, that's what you're paying this particular hosting company, so much a month or a year, and this is where your domain is, it's all you. So you can do that, and that will get them off your hands and stop the callbacks. So if you want to do that, then I would suggest finding a good hosting company with a fairly good support team, reasonably priced, and just hand it off to your clients. But I still get the feeling, since you built the website, usually clients don't understand the difference between domain names and hosting and emails and where they come from. They will still call you. Therefore, you will be dealing with ticketing support from these hosting companies and doing work for free, which you don't want to do. So that's why I manage everything, is because they usually come to me anyway when they have a problem. So, and if they're on my servers, I can fix them quickly, or I can take it up to the Server Surgeons where they can, fix the major problems, which is far and few between. And then I get paid for it, at least through hosting. Okay, so I offer what's known as a hosting security package, which is a little bit more expensive than your normal hosting. That's because I'm doing the maintenance as well. So look, in answer to that question, I'm a bit of a control freak, and they come to me anyway, so I like to have my own hosting. As far as what hosting to use, really it depends on what sort of level of control. If you want a VPS, managed VPS, then you're paying a lot more than an unmanaged VPS. And if you're going to stick something like about 50 websites on a VPS, then you really got to pay for a powerful system. And once again, then you're going to be looking at how busy will those sites be? How much traffic will they be? How much of a database that they're going to be using that people are going to be users are going to be dipping into all the time? And will it take up processing power and RAM and everything like that? So all of these things are something that you've got to have a bit of a comprehension about. Once again, I guess it comes back to being a jack of all trades, or just understanding the field that you're in. And I love this next question. Which is, have you ever had a client that simply wasn't satisfied with your work? I only ask this because I think it's what makes me the most nervous about getting into this business. That's what he asked here. Yes, I have had that. Once again, far and few between. They don't come up every one. What I find, now let's go to the worst case scenario. When I build a site, I talk to the client about what they want. They get me some ideas. Or they used to choose from a template, and I would say, well, what do you think out of these ones here? Which one do you like the look of the most? And they go, I like that one. So then you would build the site on that template, and then you would put all of their information in it and get it looking to a fairly presentable idea of what you think they want. Then you present it to them. Then you send them an email and a link and say, this is where the site is. Please look it over and get back to me. So my worst case scenario was I took it to that stage. So to do this, you already invested 15 hours into it. Okay, she had paid a deposit. I'm pretty sure. A while ago, I used to do the old trust. Oh no, that's fine. We're handshake deal and let's do this website sort of thing. Bad move. Okay, never do that. Always take the money up front so they're invested in it as well. Remember, clients. Whether they can be nice straight up front. I've had clients that are very nice straight up front, but look, when it came down to it, they would turn on you when something doesn't go wrong, right in their business, and they would turn and look at you and say, well, you're the problem for this. Turns out most of the times you're not the problem for it, but you get blamed because they don't understand the way what you do works. So I think I've got off track. So look, this client, I sent this work to her, and she looked at it and she simply came back with, I hate it. I don't like it. It's not what I asked for. Look, it was a flat out denial. She just did not like it. She didn't understand that therefore it could be changed. And from there, straight away from that point, she hated me. Anyway, so she didn't like it, and in the end, it was just easier for me to say, well, there's your money back, okay? I think I kept something like a 10% processing fee or something like that, or I can't remember. It was something low. And look, the deposit was low anyway, but I just gave it all back to her. I wiped my hands of it, and it was just easier to do that. So yes, there is times when it goes bad, and there is times when clients don't like your work. Or what I could probably say to that is back yourself up with a policy on your website, or something that makes sure that when an invoice goes out or a quote goes out, and when they're ready to start, simply put in things like, by accepting this quote, you're accepting the terms and conditions that go with such and such. And from all of these bad things that happen throughout your career, put them into your terms and conditions. Keep it reasonable, keep the money back, keep something in your terms and conditions for them, something in your terms and conditions for you. So common sense things would be that you're not liable for any loss of income for websites being down from services from other people, things like that. I don't know, just whatever happens to you that is bad, they're usually what I call policy makers. So you get your clients that are policy makers and you go, well, I didn't like that experience. That's going in my terms and conditions. I didn't like that. That's going in my terms and conditions. Generally, if you have a look at any other developer or business, equal to yourself, and they have terms and conditions, and they've been in the business for a while, then look at the terms and conditions, and you'll see that every one of those terms and conditions generally is because of people like that, people who are policy makers and that jump up and down and start to think that they're entitled to more than what normally comes with your services that you provide. So yes, you have every right to be nervous about somebody not liking your work, but it's a very small percent, and it's just something you have to deal with as part of the job. Most of the time, just about all the time, sorry, I find that people are happy and grateful of the work that you do because they couldn't do it themselves, okay? And they do have an expectation, and their expectation is every other website they see. So if you can do a product that's better or the same as all other websites out there, you will mostly find, you'll find that people will be happy because that's what they're seeing otherwise, and that's what they expect. Now, if they expect you to do something more than that, then that's quite possible because that's just time and money. And then that's their time and money. And if they want something more, well, then you just let them know and say, well, that's fine, I can do that. It's just going to be more time, therefore more money. Do you want something more? Same, you know. So let's look at the next question. Do you teach clients to use Joomla themselves so they can update as they please, or do you make the edits yourself? So both. I used to do, and used to have a big support documents, so a lot of Word documents with how to do a lot of common features. At the end of websites, I used to actually write up and present them with you know, pre-made documents, and also a document specific to their website on how to edit certain pages and things like that. And it did take a little bit of time, each one. What I would find is that they just wouldn't look at it. They would call me up 6 months down the track and say, can you just change the email address on this page? And it's like, that's the easiest thing to do. All right, so, but they would call me up because they don't have time. They don't want to. I stopped doing these help documents at the end of it. So since I have videos and a really great screenshot system, or screen capturing system, now I usually just voice over me going through the website, using screen capturing and tutorials on how to do it in a video. So I have a bunch of videos now, which is a lot easier to present to clients. So my answer to that is really not unless they ask. You really got to sort of judge a client. And the client that comes to you and straight off the bat says, look, I don't know much about computers, they're not going to edit their website. Don't worry about that. Okay, so then what you do is you offer them well, I do it in my hosting, so that's an extra part of the hosting that they pay each year, and that is you know, an updates. And you generally have to, whether it be WordPress or Joomla, you have to do updates within the system itself. Okay, the software security updates and stuff like that. So I offer those as well. So you really got to judge your clients and see whether they will update themselves. Sometimes it comes out in the question when you're talking to them, and they'll say, well, you know, can I update the site myself? And the ones that ask that question have generally developed a website before where the developer did everything for them. So I always say to my clients that it is an option. You can update it yourself, or you can get it to update, or I can update it. And I also make it sound in the way, I say it in the way that is, look, you're free to update the website yourself. The facilities are there. You just have to ask me, and I'll you know, help you out with these sort of things. But then I say something like, and I know you're probably going to be busy, and sometimes it's just easier and quicker for me to do it. So I can do something in 5 minutes that may take you half an hour to try and nut out and where it is and things like that. So they generally go to the option of getting me to do it for them. Simply because it's the one thing we all love to do is do something easier. So let's have a look at this last question. What would you say would be the minimum a developer would need to know before you can start freelance charging? I would say that would be everything you have to do. So if a client comes to you and they want a website, they're a mechanic, they're a panel beater, they're a metal fabrication company, geez, whatever it may be. It's a mid-range or a mid-sized business, and what do you need to know? So, well, you're going to want to put a website on a server. So understand a little bit about cPanel, understand about FTP, how to transfer files, understand about your framework, how to install it, how to edit it, how to work your way around the system, how to do simple things like putting forms in. Geez, anything that's in that website really. But it comes down to server, the server management, know a little bit about your cPanel, Understand about emails, because you will get email requests on how do I set up an email in Outlook. So understand that. The next one, of course, is development of the site. So be familiar with your framework that you use, your CMS, and also your template framework that you use. Understand how to edit image to a basic level, which is presenting or getting the size, cropping, things like that. Basic Photoshop knowledge, or any sort of image editor that you use. But of course, Photoshop. You might as well start at the top. Are you going to do a logo for them? So if you're going to do a logo, then you have to understand Illustrator or some sort of vector-based program. Well, that's probably about it, I think, in a roundabout sort of a way. And that is a real broad spectrum of what you have to understand. Look, it's not about knowing everything before you start. It's about being able to ask the right questions. If you have a problem with something the way it works in Joomla or WordPress, and you need to get the end result, you need to know what to ask Google in the first place to get you there. So it won't help if you want to change the CSS of something and you don't understand, and you start going, change the picture on my contact page for such and such. Google doesn't know. You have to sort of specifically say, using CSS, how do I center text into a div? So just those sort of basic terminologies, I guess. You won't know everything. I still don't know anything. I do rate myself somewhere in the middle, uppish, in the field that I do, in the business that I do, which is front-end development. I know a lot, I know more than others, and I know a whole lot less than a lot of other people. But the thing is, as you don't know something, you simply find it out. You ask Google, Google gives you an answer, hundreds of thousands of answers. You sort through the ones that make sense to you, and then you've learned something new. So don't expect to know everything before you start. Just understand that when you start, you're going to be working a whole lot slower than in 2-3 years' time when you keep on doing more and more websites. So that's the only difference. So you don't have to know a lot, you just have to be able to learn a lot and spend a lot more time on those websites that you're starting off on. So as usual, I was asked 5 questions and I feel as I've rambled on for about an hour. So I'll see if I can cut this video down to something that's a little bit more concise. Feel free to ask questions because I need to get off my ass and do a little bit more of these videos. Same thing when I do these videos, I'm learning about myself as well in the industry that I do, and also the questions that come in from people are fantastic because I always get another perspective of people in the industry or people wanting to learn this sort of stuff. So thank you, bye for now, and see you next time.